Hi, my name is Umar Masood, and today I'll be evaluating my short film which was produced for the advanced portfolio. So before actually beginning, I would like to mention a few things. So me basically I was the producer and the writer of the short film, and my second crew member was Mohammad Fakhar Abbas. He was the director and the editor of the short film. So, moving on to question number one of the evaluation. How do your products use or challenge conventions, and how do they represent social groups or issues? So, basically, in question number one, I tried to explain how our film basically puts light on certain issues which seem to be happening in the real world, and as we are noticing, the film was basically made on the relationship between two countries, India and Pakistan. So, social, the major social groups which we tried to show in our short film were the spy community and how basically they try to create some sort of differences or maybe try to go in a foreign place and try to fulfill all their objectives, and that's what my project basically showed. So as you can see in these mentioned pictures, the spy is now the spy is facing some interrogators, and the whole scenario basically perfectly captures how difficult these jobs are. And since this scenario is set in a third world country, the spy and the rest of the interrogators also experience more ethical issues. So, moving on, the second representation, which was very significant in my short film, was the representation of diplomats. And as we see in this picture, the foreign minister of Pakistan is shown as someone who is soft spoken, and also the fluency of her language makes it more suitable, and also the attire was kept formal. So in basically these countries you have to keep in mind how you dress and how you represent yourself, since this is a very important aspect of every country which has to either get its point across or try to explain something to the rival nation. So moving on to the social issues of the film, the first real major issue, which is very obvious, is war hysteria. So being set in a third world country with many other issues such as domestic violence, corruption, etc., the issue of war is the most threatening since it has severe consequences. Post independence, both countries have gone to war several times over various disputes. Obviously, it's no doubt that the history between these two countries is very obvious. They first gone to war in 1947, then later in 1965, and after that 74, and also throughout the 1900s they've been basically just fighting over various disputes. And the next major issue is murder. So the spy was killed by Indian authorities, and murders are basically common in thrillers and occur in places with low security. So, in, to put it in all summary, I'd say that my production did make use of the conventions of the typical action spy thriller, and also I've highlighted the conventions which were evident in my short film and also the narrative. So the film basically works around the typical action spy thriller with inspiration taken from several blockbuster films such as the Jason Bourne series. So these are the codes listed. There's the suspense-based narrative. There's inside shots which reveal some sort of information to the character. There is fast-paced editing in some of the shots of the film. There is use of intense soundtrack. There is heavy use of dialogue. There are props signifying danger. There is incidental music, and also we get to see elements of crime and mystery. And also there's the chase scene. So the car chase scene were the highlighting feature of my film. As we get to see in most spy films, chase scenes provide the perfect action sequence for audiences. Also, chase scenes are suitable disruptions in any sort of climax. And basically, the type of audience which we're trying to reach, I believe that these things do tend to make an impact in the narrative. So we basically try to follow the conventions of the short of the type of genre for our short film, and also uh, probably the last convention would be that tints are often used to give a cold effect and to add to the suspense of the movie. The interrogation scene uses this in order to create the cold effect. This inspiration for the blue tint was taken from a lot of blockbuster thriller films. There's the Jason Bourne series, there's Deception, there's the rest of the all of these films. They have a similar sort of basically similar sort of conventions that they use in these spy thriller films. So lastly, for this question, we will move on to the importance of, of these codes and conventions. In summary, we can see that my film incorporates government tactics, stereotypes for spies and politicians. Realism was a very important aspect of the film. Third world countries cannot afford a war with other major issues. So we tend to see that how the the basic issue of war is being exaggerated a lot. So this doesn't lead to a good ending. Obviously, it definitely leads to something much worse. And to just put it in perspective, both of these countries cannot afford a war in the current situation that they are in. So moving on to question number two. So question number two: how do the elements of your production work together to create a sense of branding? So we try to make our product as distinct as possible by giving it a very original feel. Obviously, inspiration was a part of it, but I tried to pitch the story in a way that it seems really, really original. So, set in a world where terror floods the streets, War Game sets the tone for the movie with an intense tale of competition, investigation, and of course, solving the mystery of the captured spy. So, moving on to the how different features basically are incorporated within the film and how they give the film, the short film, its own sense of branding. So, starting off with the cinematography, the obviously War Games has surrounded itself with dramatic dialogues and emotions, and naturally, a neo noir look felt appropriate for these scenes. Also, the lighting helped to create a balanced look which corresponds to how the shots were made to look, as they were all part of the same story. Basically, it makes the film recognizable and creates a smooth flow as well as interconnection between the scenes. Shot selection was key as throughout the films, close-ups were used to show focus on facial expressions. The pattern was followed once on every scene to create a well-established blend within the film, as we get to see here in the chase scene. So here basically we've taken use of some close-ups, and as we can see the actor is viewing the side as he's driving along. So so we did we did make use of very different shot selections in order to create a well balanced look, and starting from the storyline to various lighting effects. The blue tint obviously a very important part of of our pro- of our production. Hopefully it just loads up a bit quicker. So here it is. Here we basically made use of the blue tint in order to create an environment that just captures the vibe of something, that something's basically not right, and this person is now in the custody of foreign officials. And this all of the, all this scenario basically perfectly just captures uh, what our film is about, and the blue tint basically just helps to amplify that effect. It creates it, it makes it distinguishable. So lastly, also there's the director's own choices regarding to the shots of the film, and it just basically the hits the right balance of the typical action spy thriller. The poster also proves to be an important point when it comes to branding, as it features release dates, the title, as well as the custom blue tone to create a cold effect. Lastly, the website has the film's posters, logo, and credits have been obviously given to the cast, director, and the producer. So that's that. And so basically it's about how through various avenues such as the film's poster, the original film itself, we've used different elements of the action spy thriller genre which help to give our product a completely distinguished look and feel. So moving on to question number 3, how do your products engage with audiences, and how would they be distributed as real media products? So basically, with my short film War Games going to the action spy thriller genre, I'd obviously look for a big studio to distribute it all across the world, and the only preference which I seem to come to is Universal Studios, as they are basically one of the big six, and it's no surprise that the way they would be carrying out all the marketing operations and all the stuff behind the scenes, it's just really next level, I think. So coming to the targeted audience for my film, I basically conducted a research prior to the release of my film during the pre-production stages, where I basically pitched a survey to my audience, and I tried to find out that what percentage or what type of moviegoers tend to view this genre more as preferred to other genres. So we can see that 43 people responded to my survey. Out of that, mostly 65% were males. So obviously, it's natural that such genre would be mostly preferred by males rather than females. So the age bracket, basically mostly the age bracket for my production lies between 10 to 20 years, and obviously a couple of we have individuals aged 30 to 40. So the age bracket that I would be choosing for my short film would be age 16 to 35, as that's the most suitable age bracket for this audience to view. Either below that, the genre would be not suitable, as it has major issues, and as well as some use of dialogue that is not very easy for younger individuals to comprehend. So moving on, how often do these people watch movies? So as we can see in the survey that many people do watch movies very often. So this makes my survey more reliable, as it obviously comes from people who have a knack for watching movies and who know how to relate to different scenarios presented in the film. So when asked about the genres that they prefer, so Most of them they basically went for action spy thriller, obviously about 40%, and there's the genre of suspense along with that, and basically there are other genres about either comedy or romance, but that doesn't make up as a significant of population as it makes with the action spy thriller. So about the different scenes in the movie, we can see that most people went for plot twists, as there as spy movies they generally have a dark plot, so that basically doesn't reveal all of the information in the right at the start. The action basically unfolds in a very sequential manner. So there are also other things. There are also chase scenes, as obviously most of the population viewing the short film are males, and they're a huge fan of car chases basically. So that was also an important feature which I decided to include in my short film. And moving on to the last aspect of the survey, so the most important aspect according to people in any movie is the character around which the movie basically revolves. So in my film, we I casted Mustaba as the main character, and we tried to show the that Mustaba is someone who is a basically spy, and he's now captured in the foreign in the foreign in the foreign land. So that's where the real story basically starts. So that was the survey of my film, and obviously the targeted audience would be males aged 16 to 35. There'd be frequent moviegoers and the people who enjoy seeing car chase scenes, and the promotion would be done through movie releases, social media announcements, the event screening, a website for the film, distribution. The distribution would be obviously carried out by Universal Studios. Also, they are part of the Big Six. There would be a widespread cinematic release. There would be the online release on YouTube, including film website. There would be a home media release a few months after cinematic release, and the film would be appealing to the audience more using its powerful plot, the social issues that were represented, and also using balanced pacing, and also through the use of interesting dialogues. So, so the analysis that I would be concluding it as that war games basically uses different conventions, such as we have the theoretical release that Universal Studios would be carrying out, and also the film follows the typical conventions of the action spy thriller film, which would appeal to the audiences more, such as use of dark plot, heavy dialogues. All of these things tend to make an impact, and they basically help to create your own create your own product and present it in a very exciting manner. So, lastly, moving on to question number four. How did you integrate digital technology, software, hardware, and online in this project? So, basically, the use of digital technology is obviously important in every production, and also for my production, I tried to use all the resources at my disposal, and I tried to make good use of it, and basically my project did benefit from the use of digital technologies. So in the software department, we have a number of software such as Celtex, which was used for scripting. Obviously, it just makes more sense now that you are able to save your script and create different drafts of it. So that's why Celtx was used to make it to give it a professional look. And then Adobe Premiere Pro was used for editing. So the complete editing took place on Premiere Pro, and I think that's basically the best software, as obviously mostly are Windows users. And then there's Photoshop for poster making. There is After Effects for the use of title graphics and the typewriter effect, which we see two times in the film, that was used by using Adobe After Effects. So that's all the software part of it. Now online we use Wix.com to create a website. The website will be obviously used as marketing material, and WhatsApp was used extensively for communication. And moving on, YouTube was used for the film's release on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, etc. So the hardware was also something which is really important. The laptop that was used was the HP G500 for editing. Obviously, having a Core i5 7th gen processor, it makes sense to have your editing laptop something the which can basically handle this type of task. And the camera used was the Nikon D5300, as it's a good camera, and we basically had it beforehand, and we decided that it's fine to have this camera and go along with it. We had the kit lens, and also we had a zoom lens for the making of the film. And along with that, we had the Rode Mic Go. I think it's an excellent addition to have. As obviously, having an external mic just makes the sound recording experience much better. The internal mic wouldn't do such a good job as the external mic did. And we used a Gorilla tripod to mount the camera and to have a more stable look in our shots. And for the lights, we used the YN300 LED flashlights. And here we can see that these were basically the things used in my short film. This is the laptop, this is the camera along with the LED lights. So coming to the importance of digital technologies, obviously it's vital in every modern production, as it is evident here also. From researching to the making of the final product, its use has complemented my production and will further continue to do so in the overall success. So that was basically the role of digital technology. It's important to know that the things that we were able to accomplish through digital technologies would not have been possible otherwise. So that's it. And